Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulihil Kareem amma ba'd fa'uzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Dear brothers and sisters, today's Jummah reminder inshallah will be mainly about the reopening of the masjid inshallah. Just before I do that inshallah, I will give a quick reminder on being grateful really. As you all know, we all have been going through a difficult time. Some have had more difficult times than others. But today I want to just remind ourselves that we should try to be grateful in every situation, really. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they remind us that the Prophet, he said that how wonderful is the case of a believer. There is good for him in whatever happens to him, and none apart from him enjoins his blessing. If he receives some bounty, he is grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this bounty brings good to him. And if some adversity befalls him, he is patient, and this affliction too brings good to him. And if you look around us, you know, whether you look at the poor, how they want to be seen to be living big, they want to show that they've got everything. And the rich are desperate to try and find a single person who will actually be interested in them. You know, everybody wants to have followers and likes and so on. You know, everybody wants other people to be interested in them. If you look at people who are living through the war zones all over the world, unfortunately, they're crying out for peace. And those who are in safety, they want to prove, especially governments who want to prove, you know, who can do the biggest destruction in the world. If you look at people's situation in terms of, you know, people wanting to look nice and beautiful, then you look at those people who are old who want to look younger, and you look at those people who are younger and they want to look older. You want to look at those people who have a darker skin but they want to be fair skinned, and you look at those fair skinned people who want to look dark, you know, they undergo tanning processes and whatever. So everybody wants something else. Nobody is grateful. Everybody wants to be something else. Those who are slim want to gain weight. Those who are large want to shed weight. Those who are tall wish they were short. Those who are short wish they were tall. You got parents who like free time from their children, who, you know, and you got those adults, those couples, husband, wife, who actually want children. You got leaders who wish they didn't have the responsibilities that they had, and you got people who follow them who wish they were more powerful and had more accountability and responsibility. You got those people who are in work and want to sit at home and chill and hope that, you know, that they have to do nothing at all. And you got those people who are out of work and are running around and would want to be busy and want to have work. You have those people on one side of the world who pray for rain. Yeah, and you got other people on the other side of the world who complain about the rain. So, you know, we as human beings, we always are ungrateful for what we have. Yeah, we should try and be thankful in every situation that Allah has put us in. You know, everybody thinks that he or she is the worst person off. You know, when when we're not in a good situation, we think that we are the worst person, that there could be nobody in a worse situation than us. But there's many people who are in worse situation than us. And we should always, when we are in that kind of situation, be thankful to Allah, because there are people who do not have what you have. People would dream of having the life that you have, that you're complaining about. You only have to put on the TV and look at those charity appeals that happens on many channels throughout Ramadan that happened. People who have next to nothing. We have much more than that. We should be grateful in every situation that we are in. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he reminded us, he says, how wonderful is the case of a believer, that there's good for him in whatever happens to him. So in every situation, he is difficult for the things that he's in. And if he's in a good time, he's thankful. If he's in a difficult time, he's patient and thankful as well. The Prophet said that Allah gives him good, brings good to him. So whatever situation we're in, we should try to be grateful and think that there's people who are worse off than us. May Allah make us more grateful in every situation. Allah says that the one who is grateful, I'll give him more. Okay, so I just want to quickly go through, as you know, inshallah, we're opening the masjid up soon in the next few days. The actual date will be announced soon. But I just wanted to go through some of the things that we've been working on for the past month or so, and share with you, brothers and sisters, what we've been doing, what you can expect when you go to the masjid, the different things that will be in place. And this video is really just an introduction. This is just one way that we're communicating with you regarding the reopening of the masjid. There will be other ways. There'll be WhatsApp messages, there'll be posters, there'll be leaflets. So a number of ways that you will find out about the masjid opening. So inshallah, here goes. Just want to go through a few slides. Hope you can follow, and I hope I don't go too fast for you. So inshallah, opening soon. So what are we doing? We are in line with the latest government guidance. We're opening up our masjid for congregational salah. Remember, from the 15th, it was open for individual prayer, but obviously we as Muslims, we don't use the masjid for individual prayer. Its primary function is for congregational prayer and obviously other community activities. So we weren't open to do anything then from the 15th, so we remained closed. So the next part of reopening is for congregational salah, inshallah, which is going to happen. Again, the date we have not confirmed yet, but will be confirmed in the next few days and will be communicated to you in a number of ways, inshallah. When the masjid does open, it will be in a phased manner, and it will be according to the current 2-meter social distancing guidance. You must be thinking that didn't they relax that? What they actually said was that if you can keep to 2 meters, then do that. If it's difficult, then you can go to 1 meter plus. But inshallah, in our masjid, we are going to remain to the 2-meter rule for now, inshallah, and stick to that guidance because that's the more safer option for us and for our community. In sticking to the 2-meter social distancing guidance, you will know that our masjid will obviously be limited in terms of its accommodation and how many people will be able to pray there. So only a fraction of the current congregation before lockdown will be able to pray in the masjid, particularly for Jumu'ah prayers. So we've been working on this for a number of weeks to try and open. In that process, we've had to prepare risk assessments, produce posters, signs, video, which will be out soon, inshallah, to try and communicate all this to you. Because what we want is that when people do come on the first day it opens, that everything is clear to everybody. Everybody knows before coming to the masjid what is required of them and some of the things that they'll need to adhere to whilst they're in the masjid. So what are the safety measures that we are taking? We're taking a number of steps to try and manage the safety of you all, brothers, at the moment, of the congregation. So some of the things that you will see in place when you come to the masjid are as follows. We are going to operate a one-way system through the building. So you will come through one door. For the brothers, which are, and only brothers are coming at the moment, I'll come to that in a few slides. So the brothers, as normal, will come through the back door. They will use that car park entrance to come through the building, and then a one-way system will apply. So whether you use upstairs or if there's an overspill downstairs, that will be the entrance that will be used. When you come to the masjid, you will not be able to use the wudu facilities, unfortunately. Wudu facilities or the toilet facilities, they will be out of bounds, they will be locked. Nobody will be able to use those. We've also removed the books, the literature off the shelves in the masjid and the leaflets. Again, we don't want people handling those and therefore spreading any potential infection or virus that may spread in that way. So we've removed those. There'll be regular cleaning of the masjid, more regular than it was before. Again, we want to try and keep the masjid as clean as possible, all the hard surfaces and so on. There will be a number of hand sanitizers throughout the masjid. They've been put on the walls. They are labeled for you to use. So as soon as you go into the masjid, one of the first things that you'll see is a hand sanitizer. So you can use that throughout the masjid. Whilst at the masjid, you will be maintaining social distancing. So 2 meters. We are strongly encouraging every single person that goes to the masjid to try and adhere to this. This is the best way that we can try and minimize the spread of this virus if we can stick to this 2 meter social distancing that we're applying at the moment. We are also limiting the amount of time that the brothers will spend in the masjid. Again, for obvious reasons, we don't want people to stand around in close proximity to each other, because that's when the transmission of this virus happens, or more likely to happen. There'll be no programs in the masjid at the moment until further notice. As the lockdown eases, as the situation eases, inshallah, this will be announced in due time. And again, as you know, no madrasa classes are taking place. These are all taking place online and will be until further notice. So who can come to the masjid? This will be a very important question that everybody should understand before they come to the masjid. We don't want people turning up and we having to politely refuse people to come. So please try and observe this. It's for your safety and everybody else's safety as well. So the following will be allowed to attend the congregational prayers starting in a few days' time. So these are the people who can attend. If you're between the age of 11 and 70, you can attend. And those with no underlying health conditions such as diabetes, COPD, asthma, kidney, liver related diseases, weakened immune system. If you don't have any of these, you can come. And those people who are not shielding. So basically looking at that, if you're 10, if you're under 11, you will be asked to remain at home or in the masjid. And if you're 70 years of old age or more, we are politely asking you for your own safety and for everybody else's safety and well-being, that if you can continue to pray at home until further notice, until the government basically tells us it's safer for people to come. Yeah. So the ones who can come, those between 11 and 70 years of age, those with no underlying health conditions, and those who are not shielding. So those are the people who can come to the masjid. So the next important question is, who cannot come to the masjid then at this time? So as per the government advice and the public health advice, the following people, we're asking them not to attend the congregational prayers at this time. Again, the reason is for their own safety and for the safety of people around them. So if you're 70 years of age, those over the 70 years of age, and respectfully, a lot of our elders, they are the ones who actually want to attend the masjid most. But for their own well-being and for their safety, we are asking them to politely stay in their homes, pray in their homes for the time being until it's safe to do so. And we are trying to also reach out to our elders in our community who usually come and ask them, please, can we request that you don't come for your own safety and because it's government advice as well. So over 70s, please pray in your homes for the time. Those under the age of 10, basically children, we're asking them to also keep away from the masjid and pray at home for the time being. Those with underlying health conditions, as I mentioned before in the previous slide, if you have any of those conditions, any underlying health conditions, for your safety, please pray at home and stay away from the masjid. So do not come to the masjid. Those who are extremely clinically vulnerable or shielding, you need to check with your GP if you're not sure. We had a number of our brothers who said they were of an older age category, and they phoned a couple of us to say, can I come? The advice that we're giving to you is please consult your GP. If your GP said, and you explain to them the situation that you want to go to the masjid, he will ask you your health condition and so on. If he says you can go, then that will be a decision for you to make. But if he says you can't go, please follow that advice for your health and well-being. Stay in the masjid for now. It is more rewarding for you if you pray at home if you have any of these conditions at the moment. We're also asking sisters not to come yet. Again, because we said this is a phased opening of the masjid, we're asking our sisters not to come at the moment, because, as I've said, sticking to the 2-meter distance means that our capacity of the masjid has reduced a lot, probably about a quarter, we think, of what our normal pre-COVID capacity of the masjid used to be. So to accommodate the brothers, we're asking the sisters for now to try and pray at their homes, and to try and help the masjid to try and function, starting with the brothers. And inshallah, as the lockdown eases, inshallah, in the next phase, we will invite the sisters back. So please bear with us, your patience, and we need your support, and we need your understanding in this matter. So, so if you're one of those who can come to the masjid, what must you do when you come to the masjid? So we're not, we're telling you that you can't just come to the masjid as you used to before, pre-COVID, and just walk in and so on. That's not going to be the new norm. The new norm is going to be quite different. So the first thing is, if you used to make wudu in the masjid, you will not be able to do so anymore. So the first thing is, make your preparation for wudu at home. Yeah, make your wudu at home. And then you need to bring 3 main things with you. 3 main things you need to have with you. First one is your face mask. Your face mask is very important. You must wear it all the time in the masjid. As soon as you enter the masjid, you must be wearing your face mask right up until the point that you exit after the prayers. Bring your own prayer mat. Again, the reason is, if you cough, sneeze, or whatever, you're doing it on your own prayer mat, and then you can roll it up and you can take it away with you again. So basically, if there's any germs that you put on your mat, you're taking them away from you, from the masjid with you. Bring your own shoe bag. Now, you might be asking why this is required. Again, as I mentioned before, it's going to be a one-way system. So you will not be able to leave shoes in the reception area. First of all, there will be no shoe racks there. Secondly, because it's a one-way system, you will not be able to come back after completing your prayers to pick up your shoes like you used to. So bring your own shoe bag. You'll put the shoe bags in your bag, and you'll take the bag with you upstairs into the prayer hall. And the shoe bag will remain with you at the side of you when you're praying. Number 5, ensure that you're dressed appropriately. Make sure you're wearing socks at all times. And gloves, if you want to. Preferably, you should try and wear gloves, but that's not mandatory. As soon as you walk into the masjid entrance, there will be hand sanitizers on the wall. We encourage you to use the sanitizers in the masjid to disinfect your hands on entry and exit also. The one-way system will be marked with signs on the walls, on the stairs, in the prayer halls, on the exit. So please follow that as soon as you completed your prayer to exit the masjid. In the whole time that you're in the masjid, we will expect that you will support us and maintain your social distance with all the other namazis that will be there. So please stick to minimum 2 meter distance wherever you are. You can say salam, dua, ask people how they are. But again, in limited time, we don't want to encourage too much gathering, but keep to that distance all the time that you're in the masjid. After you finish the fard part of the salah, we will ask you to please complete your prayers at home. So as soon as the imam says salam to both ways, right and left, quick dua, we'll ask you please to try and vacate the masjid as soon as possible and make your way back to home. This is a quick WhatsApp poster. It will probably be available in a leaflet form as well. Quickly summarizes everything that I've said more or less about the wudu facilities, the mask, shoe and prayer mat, the entrance and exit and the one-way system, the hand sanitizer and gloves, the social distancing, and also praying the nafal and sunnah prayers. All that is the message that I've given up to now. All that is on one poster there, as you can see. Come to Jumu'ah Salah, which is obviously more busier than the normal Salah. So as you know, the capacity is going to be limited. So due to this limit on the space, we are planning to do 2 Jumu'ah Salahs, inshallah. The first one will be 1:30 and the second one will be 2 p.m. The new capacity in the masjid with the 2 meter spacing is about 55 only. 55 only. So we're trying to look into providing some additional space in the car park. Obviously, this will be dependent on the weather. If we can get a more permanent solution, inshallah, we're looking into that as well. But for the time being, it's 55 people based on the 2 meter spacing inside the masjid, upstairs and downstairs. That's the total capacity at the moment, 55. We've sent out a link for people to notify us or indicate their preference. You know, for example, I prefer to come to the first salah, I prefer to come to the second salah. So that kind of indication will help us in terms of knowing how many people are going to come, but it doesn't unfortunately guarantee you a space at either Jamaat time. So we will operate a first come first served basis. Those who meet the attendance criteria, in other words, they're okay to come, will be allowed to enter the masjid. Again, making sure that you've got the 3 things. So you've got your mask, your prayer mat, and your shoe bag. Please bear in mind that even if all of the measures that we put in place, we will still not be able to accommodate the number of people who used to come before the lockdown. So that's something that we all have to bear in mind. So try and come as early as you can to make sure that you get into the masjid. If you're not able to come, if the capacity is full, there's nothing much we can do. Obviously, if it's after the first prayer, then you can wait a short time for the second prayer to be completed. But basically after that, there'll be no capacity left. You may have to pray your individual Zuhr prayer if you've not been able to pray Jummah at the first prayer time or the second prayer time. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, inshallah, we're hoping that with the additional space that we can try and create in the car park, it will be minimal and there won't be too many people that will miss out on the Jummah. So we're very serious about what we're doing, and we spent weeks working on this. We have to make sure that we get this right, because there are some serious consequences if we don't. As the masjid committee, we will be personally liable if things go wrong. So we are making sure that we have our risk assessment in place, that all the rules and the procedures, all the precautions that we need to take that are in place. And as you can see from the slide, the serious breaches and failure, it constitutes a criminal offense, basically, with some serious fines and even imprisonment up to 2 years. So very, very serious. We don't want to be forced to close down. So please, we're asking all our brothers and sisters to help us to keep everyone safe and keep the masjid open. So to do all this, we're going to need some volunteers. So to keep everyone safe, we will require a pool of volunteers to help us. So we are strongly urging our brothers, please come forward and try and help us to keep the masjid as safe as possible. The more volunteers we have, the easier it will be. There'll be less load on each person, and we can get things done easier and quicker and smoother. So for each salah, we will require probably up to 3 or 4 volunteers to try and help at the entrance and exit points. We basically have to invite people in, make sure that they're okay, and then let them come in, making sure that they've got the 3 things, which is the mask, the shoe bag, and also the prayer mat as well. For Jumu'ah, we will need more volunteers. We may need up to 10 volunteers, possibly, especially if we're in the car park as well. So we urge volunteers to please come forward. All those brothers who normally go to university, maybe you're not at university at the moment, please make yourselves known to us and try and help us. May Allah reward you for your efforts and supporting the masjid. Without volunteers to do all these things will be difficult, because we will need to make sure that we check people in and check people out. This is where the volunteers will be absolutely crucial and necessary for us to make sure that the smooth running of the masjid continues. It opens up on time, people are checked in properly, and then they can exit safely as well. So please, again, last request, try and come forward, try and help us to make sure that the reopening of the masjid is safe for everybody as much as possible that we can. So that's just a quick reminder about the Masjid Re-opening. I do stress that we need to get this right. We need to make sure that everybody follows the rules. We need to have the volunteers. The last thing we want is a situation like Leicester. So we don't want that, you know, we find out that it's spread in the masjid. You can imagine that the uproar that will be caused in the local media or national media. So we need to make sure that we get things right and they're done properly and legally to keep everybody safe, whoever comes to the masjid. We will have volunteers for the different prayer times. So make yourself known to the Brother Mahmoud or Brother Tariq or to myself or any of the brothers that you know from the committee in the masjid, and say, I'm willing to help, and inshallah we'll take your details down and we'll make sure that you are trained up fully so that you can help us. So that was a quick reminder about the situation with the reopening of the masjid. As I said, this is just one way to communicate. There'll be a video coming out soon. There'll be a leaflet. There's WhatsApp messages going around and posters. So as much as possible, if still you don't know or you're unsure, you can come back to us and check. Again, if you are in that vulnerable category, please go to your GP and ask advice whether you are and should be coming to the masjid in the current situation or not. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for listening. And inshallah, we hope to see you soon in Medina Masjid and welcome you all. Jazakallah khair. Wa ma alayna illa al-balagh.